Welcome to Hello Self. It's a podcast focused on turning your can'ts into cans and your dreams into plans. I am your host, coach, and author, Patricia Leonard. Well, I just want to say thank you to all of you for joining Hello Self podcast today. You're going to have a ball. I've got a comedian here, and we both just kind of play off of each other, so get ready for anything. The podcast, as you know, if you've been watching before, is to help you turn your can'ts into cans and your dreams into plans at any age in your life. So if you're standing at the corner of lost, and where do I go from here? I'm saying you're going to get some great insights from Sunny Brown, my guest today, from her story of how she got started. And just to let you know, I am Patricia Leonard, and I'm your host. I'm an inspirational speaker, an author, and business and life coach. So here we go. I'm going to get this started a little bit. Just say hi, Sunny, to our audience.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here on your show, Patricia, and just really honored to add my story to all the wonderful guests that you've already had on your show. And I hope that my story really does, inspire someone else.
Well, it inspired me, so I'm sure it'll inspire others. And it even gets richer as we go. I met Sunny through Women in Film and Television here in Nashville, Tennessee. She's from Alabama, right?
That's right.
Yes.
From Birmingham.
She's from Alabama. And when I read her bio, I always ask for a little bio so I can do some introduction too. But when I read her bio, I just learned more and more about her. And she's going to share with you some of her Hello Self moments that changed her life. So just let me give you a little overview of who Sunny is based upon her bio. She started being a comedian when she was young, and she'll tell you more about all this. I'm just going to hit some highlights. And she had an epiphany, and we're going to call it a Hello Self moment, that really shifted her life. And a comedian as a woman was not really always easy in the culture that we have grown up in. So I think that you're going to find her story very inspiring and offer you some forward movement. And it doesn't have to be a comedian in whatever your desire is, because we both promote the fact that whatever your heart and your spirit is telling you, investigate, because it just might be your future. She has she's written books. She's has her own humor column. She's a winner of stand-up comedy contest. She'll tell you more about the details. Co-created the musical comedy variety show, A Night on the Cascade Lounge. So you're going to get ready for something great. She's written and performed 2 one-woman shows. And that really excited me because I have a one-woman show called Hello Self. It's a woman waking up in life in her senior years. She's got another show. Her newest one is The Invisible or An Invisible Woman. And she'll give you more of the details about that, because 2023 is not just for women, but it is a time for us to step out and follow those desires that we've got laying on our someday shelf. It's now time. Sunny believes that laughter can unify and heal, and has lent her talents for several philanthropic organizations. So we're going to get started. She'll tell you a little bit more about her website and all of those kind of things as we move, and we'll just have a conversation. I may jump in and ask her some questions. So I'm just going to turn it over to you, Sunny, now to just start any place in your life, because I believe that in every story, there are many gifts and lots of glories. So no matter what you share, there's going to be a gift for our listeners. So here we go. It's your turn now.
Oh boy. Well, thank you again for having me on here. And I'm really honored to share my story. I actually, as you said, and maybe I said that I did not know I was funny. I didn't discover I was actually funny until I was, or right, the first funny thing until I was 48 years old. And so it just took me by complete surprise.
But you said you even said as a child you really enjoyed making people laugh, didn't you?
Well, and when I was a child, I was not meaning to make people laugh.
Oh.
I did not realize that. It really frustrated me that, excuse me, my family were all laughing. My parents would call me Gracie as a nod to Gracie Allen. Some of your viewers might know who she is and some might not. She was back in the golden age of, the 40s and 50s with, it was George Burns was her husband, and George Burns and Gracie Allen.
Yes.
But of course, I did not know any of this. I was a little, and they would call me Gracie because they were always laughing at everything I said, which really frustrated me as a child because I didn't want to be taken seriously. And it was only truly just when the internet came, when I had the internet and when I was in my, around 50, that I realized, I am a comedian, and what is that?
Yes. Oh my God, discovery.
Yeah, that self-discovery. Yes. And I would look up and I said, who is Gracie out? And I started watching YouTube videos of their old shows. And I saw so much of the similarities and it was so weird how my parents obviously saw that when I was really little.
I think that's funny, but I think you just brought out a great point. A lot of people can see our talent before we can. That's a fact. Yes.
Yes. As a matter of fact, after I had my epiphany, which I'll tell you about in a minute.
Oh, yes.
I would tell people, I'm funny. I'm a comedian. They would say, we know. And I was the last to know. I was a late bloomer, and I was really the last to know myself.
Yes.
Which is, so you're right. I think other people can see sometimes, but if you don't know it in your own mind, it doesn't have any meaning for you.
No, that's right.
So even now when I'll do a show, particularly if there's some, older age group in the audience, they will come up to me. One or two people every show will come up to me and say, did I see some Gracie Allen in there? Or you reminded me, you probably don't know who Gracie Allen is. So yes. She's been a part of my life, my whole life, which is, I think she had died maybe before I was even born. I'm not sure, but
don't say that because I can remember her.
Well, I'm probably wrong about that.
Yeah, you're wrong about that. Oh my God.
So I had been a stay-at-home mom. Well, I studied dance. I had always been in the performing arts.
Yes.
And I studied dance in college, and I went on to have a modeling career. And then I got married, and my husband and I really wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. So that was something that we made happen. It wasn't always easy, but that was important to me, and I wanted to do that. So it was really as my son, my oldest child, had gone off to college, and my daughter was approaching her senior year of high school. And of course, so many women, especially, but men too, but so many women start approaching that empty nest syndrome and kind of asking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do now? And that's kind of talking to yourself, right?
Yes,
asking
yes,
yourself,
good point.
What am I going to do? What's next? And I was doing that. And I actually had been writing. I'll start back a little bit. I'm sorry if I go back and forth.
No, please, just be yourself. That's part of the comedy.
Okay.
Wait, I forgot that. Right.
Well, prior to that, blogs had started coming out and being popular. And I did not know what a blog was. And I thought, and I'm one of these, I really don't like being left behind, even though I'm always a late bloomer. I'm always kind of the last to know. I wanted to get in on what is a blog. And so I told my kids that I was going to start a blog. And of course, they rolled their eyes and fled from the room, because as soon as I sit down to a computer, I'm saying, hey, can somebody come help me? Technology.
Yeah.
So, but I thought, well, I'll just write a blog about how you can enjoy your life, add all moments of beauty and glamour and joy into your life, no matter where you are. And you don't have to be in, Beverly Hills or
right.
islands, and you don't have to be wealthy. There's so many, just the joys in life can be so simple.
Yes.
And so I had started a blog about that, and I was writing, and I had no idea anyone was reading my blog. I mean, I just didn't know. And so
a lot of people out there, same place, aren't there? Yes.
Yes. So if there's something you want to say and talk about and explore, just go ahead and do it, and people will find you. I don't even know how they find you, but they find you. And I happened to be seated at a dinner next to this gentleman and his wife, and he was starting a magazine, and he said he wanted me to write a column. And I said, on what? And he said, on your blog, the same thing you write about in your blog. I had no idea he was reading my blog or anybody was reading my blog. So,
see, that's another hello self moment that we don't see, but somebody helped us see that, wow, what I've been doing is something that's valuable. Yes. Okay, great. And that moves you on to something else. Yes.
Well, it did. So I wrote that column for about a year, and people started wanting me to come and speak to their organizations for their events and things. And oh my goodness, that went so badly.
That was another comedy act.
It was. Something was missing. And I felt like something was missing in my column too, right? But I couldn't figure out what it was. I couldn't put my finger on it. And then one morning I woke up, and I guess I had a hello self moment in a dream. It had come to me at nighttime in a dream. And I woke up that morning, I said, I had a whole one-woman show in my head, and it was based on my column. So it was a way to get all the information and the fun of my column in a fun way versus just speaking.
Yes.
It kind of helped me form the missing link between what I was writing about and how to speak about it.
And that really engages people at a different level, because a written column engages their mind. Whereas if you're acting and joking, it's engaging different parts of themselves, their emotional self. Yeah, that's exciting.
You're right. You're exactly right about that, Patricia. And I haven't really thought of it that way, what the difference was. I know that when I'm writing something humorous for people to read themselves, it's very different than me writing it to perform it for them.
Yes.
It's just a different type of writing. So it took me 7 months to bring this show to life. It was called Confessions of a Glamorous Mind. And it was really, I'm telling you, I did not expect the reaction from it that people had. And so I didn't even record it. I didn't even record the show. I performed it for a Thursday, Friday night and a Sunday afternoon. And then I had people wanting me to do it so many places.
Was that in a speaking engagement or a theater or what?
I did it in a theater, in like a small cabaret theater. But then they wanted me to perform it for different events and groups around, So that was wonderful. I I had people wanting, to send the tape of it off to other places. And I didn't even record it. I wasn't.
I don't have a
ahead.
tape.
I didn't know I was going to do it again,
We really know how to market.
Oh, boy.
It's learning.
Let me tell you.
Yes.
So then after that show was over, I didn't know that you really had a, kind of a down, the blues, the post-show blues. And so again, I found myself, what am I going to do now? What's next?
And at this corner of what's next, and I don't know which way to go.
That's right. Exactly. All these moments when you start, okay, now what? You just kind of ask yourself, now what? What's next? So I found myself doing that again because it had consumed me for 7 months, and then it was over. And then I started realizing, I know this doesn't sound real, but I didn't realize that it was a comedy, really. I didn't realize that it was funny. I didn't. So I started thinking about, how funny it was, how much people laughed. Of course it was a comedy. How did I not realize it at the time? And so I realized in that moment what had been missing in my column was humor, was all the humor. So I rewrote the column that I was about to turn in, and I went and met with my editor. Excuse me. I'm getting over a cold I've had. So
me too.
My vocal cords are still a little raspy. I'm so sorry.
No, that's good.
Okay. And I showed him, and I met with him about, really, I'd like, my column is more a humor column. That's what it should be. That was missing. And he couldn't believe the difference in the two columns. And so from that moment on, it was a humor column, and it resonated. And it's about, well, for all people really, but more and more it became about women and just how society makes us feel as we get older, just invisible, and so
let me just intersect something here. I really like how and I want to make sure the audience catches this. You're talking about waking up as you move along to who you are and what. So it's really like exploring life, not giving up, finding, but just moving. What's the next? Oh, well, that's funny. Oh, well, maybe I'll be. So I love the way that your process has worked, is that it is moments of hello self to say, oh, one morning I woke up and this, and then I did something funny and I told so it's a discovery, isn't it?
Oh, it is self-discovery.
Yeah.
Just all along the way. One thing just leads to another if you just go explore it.
Yes, that's it.
And are open to it, to what it could be. And so I thought, I know this sounds crazy, but I thought, oh, I'm funny. I'm a comedian. And then this is when, Patricia, I had my epiphany. And it was a really life-changing moment for me in every way. And it was a real spiritual experience, I'm going to say. It affected me in such a profound way. And as I sat there in our living room, and the realization, it's almost like you see the cartoons, the light bulb goes on over your head. The realization that I was a comedian and that I was funny came flooding into me. And in my consciousness, everything since my childhood up to that moment that I had heard, witnessed, thought of, anything that was funny, anything humorous, came flooding into my mind.
Yes.
And for 4.5 days, I wrote. It was like the only thing I could see were the words, the visions and images coming to me. I wrote day and night. I wrote out of the shower. I wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote for 4.5 days.
How
It was,
exciting.
it was, I can't explain it. It was
Yes.
it was just like I was blind, and the only thing I could see was what had come into my mind, my consciousness. And
Yes.
so after that 4.5 days, it stopped, and I was exhausted and I was confused. I didn't understand what it meant. I had pages and pages and pages of jokes, stories, essays, partial jokes, ideas, just all around me. I had written for 4.5 days. And then I cried because I didn't know what it meant. I didn't understand it. I didn't know what it was for.
Yes.
And so, but I had so much material that I had written. And I was, after that, a few days later, my husband was just, he just didn't know. He said he would walk by and hear me laughing as I'm
Is Sunny okay? Yeah.
And so I was talking with a friend of mine, and I said, so I am a comedian. I'm a comedy writer. I need to go where I can observe funny things. This is how, when you don't know, you just start. I didn't know, Patricia, where it was leading, what it meant. And so I said, where would I go see funny things or whatever? And there's a comedy club here in Birmingham. And for some reason in my mind, I thought I would go and observe comedy there, right? So I went on to their website and saw that they were hiring. And when I called, the woman on the phone misunderstood and thought I was calling about performing for an open mic.
Oh my gosh, that's even better.
This was on a Tuesday, and I'd never been. I mean, I'd never really watched comedy. I couldn't tell you one thing about stand-up comedy.
Oh my
and
gosh.
So I know. And I said, she said, well, I have an opening this Friday. It just opened up, and this was on a Tuesday. So my mind, I was thinking, stand-up comedy. What would I do? And then I thought, well, I do have something I've just written. All this stuff I've just written.
Yes.
There's an essay here. I could do that. And she was getting irritated with me on the phone because I was just.
You were discovering on the phone.
All the process was going on in my mind while I was on the phone. Right? And I thought, Billy, my husband, he's gonna think I've lost my mind. But I said, I'll say yes, and I'll tell him, and then I can call and cancel. Right?
Exactly.
So I said
and
yes.
He said, go do it.
Yes. I told him, and he said, well, why not? I said, okay. So I actually did go and do it. And Patricia, I didn't know it was a contest. I didn't know. And I was the co-winner. They usually only pick one, but they picked me too. And invited me to come back and perform in their big showroom with 300 people 2 weeks later.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So I thought, well, okay.
Try anything if you.
Why not? It's all for fun.
Nobody else does.
That's right. So I did. Now, this is very interesting, Patricia, and maybe some of your viewers have experienced this, and this will help them because it helped me later, right?
Yes.
So we were in the green room backstage. They call the backstage the green room while you're waiting to go on. And I didn't realize that this was like a big, of course, nobody tells me anything. And I didn't realize it was a big year-end showcase where comedians who had been winning these contests all year long were now coming to this year-end showcase for their big opportunity. And they were from all over the Southeast.
Oh,
they were from Memphis and New Orleans and Mobile and Jacksonville, Florida and Nashville and Atlanta. They were from all over. And there I was. And so someone had started going around asking, who you are and where you're from and how long you've been doing it.
Yesterday.
Yeah. I made the mistake. I said 2 weeks ago. They were all, it's funny now, but they were all 5 years, 3 years, 8 years. I mean, and when I just, I was being truthful and honest, and obviously to them, blowing it off, right?
Yes,
it changed the atmosphere in the room. They were not happy with me being there. It was.
Oh no! I thought they were going to say this was fabulous. Oh
no, no, Patricia. I suddenly realized I didn't belong there. I had not paid my dues to be there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's how we become expert.
Yes, let me tell you, it got into my head.
Yes, oh my gosh.
Psyched me out. I suddenly felt they were mad that I was there and I didn't belong. And I went out on that stage for 6 minutes and I bombed. No.
Oh, because, they created
Even my husband didn't laugh.
My best cheerleader didn't laugh.
It was so painful. It was so painful. And my husband afterward, he goes, "What was that? It was nothing." I said, but it was only after doing some self-introspection.
Yes.
Afterwards that I realized what had happened. That had gotten into my head that I did not belong there and I had not paid my dues. So don't let other people get into your head. Don't let them, their experience, take away what you know you are doing.
Great advice. Oh my God, that is great advice, Sonny. Oh.
And that is firsthand experience of actually dying on stage for 6 minutes in front of 300 people.
You could have even turned that around and said, this is what somebody does when they're insecure the first time and they're back.
Yeah, I know.
But they wouldn't have found it funny because they're all experts.
Yes. And so later I thought I should have said, you've been doing this for 5 years and you're just here. It only took me 2 weeks. No, that's terrible. But I didn't say that. I wouldn't have said that.
Yeah,
but,
oh my God, I got to share something that I did in corporate America one time, and we'll come back to that because I was in the room with I was doing a workshop on communication. And so I asked the first question, how many of you have attended a communication workshop in the past? They all raised their hand. And I said, well, what are you doing here now? Did it not work?
That's the same
There was
thing.
a moment of silence and then they laughed.
That's funny.
So back to your experience there. Oh my gosh, great advice.
Yes. So do not let other people's opinions and thoughts and the way the way they think things should go and be, don't let that get into your head.
Yes.
Just stay true to what you were
I
doing.
love your statement that you think about now if it were to happen again. You're just here now.
After 5 years.
What you got in 5 years. Oh my gosh. Yes.
So, it took me a little while to realize that had affected me that way. And, I got to get back out there. Right.
Yes.
You have to go do it again. Once I realized what had happened, why I had failed, right? I had bombed out there, why I had failed. I realized, I have to do this again. Right. So you don't just fail and give up. That would have been terrible.
And you know what? I think you're saying something about there are no failures. There are learning experiences. And you learned in that moment. It did not stop you, just like you're saying. But you said, I know next time I'm just going to say, is this as far as you
That's just a little joke, right?
Yeah, no, I know. Between you and me and the
That's
podcast
right.
listeners.
I know. So I did, and it was a long, getting up at, telling my husband, at 10 o'clock at night, I got to go to a stand up at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday night with 4 drunk people there. It was, but you get better, you do it, you realize what you do like, what you don't like, what you want to do, what you don't want to do. And I wasn't enjoying that whole stand-up scene, to tell you the truth.
Exactly.
Just that whole I realized was not where I wanted to be spending my time. It really wasn't my audience, to tell you the truth. But still, I was getting better. I was still learning something from it.
And you know what? That reminds me of something else, some old sayings, and I don't know where it came from, but do what you're doing where you are at the moment, and it's going to take you. But if you stand there and say, I'm finished, I don't like this, but you went ahead and worked through it, and then it positioned. Very good advice.
That's right. Yes. So then suddenly I got a call from, there's a woman here who, she's in charge of a historic theater here, and they have a cabaret theater. And she was wanting to put together a group, a variety show. It's a woman's comedy variety act, and called Feminine Hijinks.
Oh, right. Oh my God, I love that.
Feminine Hijinks. And she wanted me and 3 other ladies to be the show. She wanted me to be a part of it. She had heard I was now doing comedy, and and wanted me to be a part of it. So that we became very popular. Every show we did sold out. We were constantly adding more shows. It was people love us. And I was really able to use a lot of my material. And so we did singing, we did sketches, we did stand-up, monologues. It was just so much fun. And I realized, that's my audience. My audience is the theater crowd. And just when you find your audience finds you, it clicks. And it just makes everything so much more fun.
Just feels right, and it just all flows, doesn't it?
Yes, it flows. That's right. Yes. And so we did that for several years, and people still ask us now, I miss y'all, when are y'all getting to do again? But everybody's kind of gone into different directions. But
maybe 2023, who knows?
Maybe. So then I can't remember, exactly point to point, but then I did have the idea for my my show, An Invisible Woman, the disappearing act of a woman over 50. And that was a very successful show again. And I did it 2018, and then 2019, I sort of took the time off to, personal things. My in-laws were elderly, and we were having to, help there a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then the pandemic happened.
I was going to say, then the pandemic, stopped those.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's right.
face. Yeah.
And so I did quite a few comedy videos during the pandemic. And put those out there.
Yes.
Because, there was no live.
Yes, and people could still enjoy life. They needed something to cheer them up.
That's right. And so that was a lot of fun, truly. And I actually realized I enjoy doing comedy for video, for, I guess, would be television or something, even though you're not getting that immediate feedback from a live audience, which is my absolute favorite. But it was very much like me for my column. People would read my column, and I wouldn't hear or know they were laughing, but then I run into them or they contact me.
Yes.
Oh, so funny. So it's a delayed gratification kind of. Excuse me. But so that was very similar to that.
Yes.
And so now I've had, I'm so sorry.
No. I'm having the same thing. I took a cough drop a while ago and then I had to wipe my nose. Excuse me.
It's life.
That's life. That's right.
So I then have had a lot of people contacting me, a lot of people, very interesting people contacting me, a producer and a songwriter, wanting me to bring my show, An Invisible Woman, back. And so we're going to have new music for it and bringing it back in a different way. And there's big plans to take it to theaters all around.
Fantastic.
So,
yes. I want to see it. I want to see it.
It's very exciting. I'm thrilled. It is time to bring her back, and it's just more timely now than ever.
Oh, I think it is too. It's funny how you got the basis for everything. You were building a platform all along, and I think the timing in 2023 and 2024 and 2025 is just going to be a bursting out of not just for women, but just for people in general, waking up to who they are and their talents. Yes.
Yes. Well, I love hearing that, Patricia.
Yes. Oh, no. That's my prediction.
Yay. I love it. But well, I have had many hello self moments, and I continue to have hello self moments. And I think that is the most important relationship you have is with yourself.
Oh, my gosh. You just gave me a big plug. I love that. And you know what? I want to add something in here. And I think I've told some of my audiences before. You said that you had an epiphany about your comedy and all of that. Well, and then you woke up and you started writing like crazy. Well, I kept asking God for month after month. What is, because I had written several books, I'd spoken, I'd been coaching, but I felt like there was something else. And I'm still in that place that there's still more that's coming. But it was funny because I was asleep and it was 4. I didn't know at the time it was 4, but I heard this booming voice one day as it woke me up. And it said, Patricia, just do hello self. And I said, so I woke up. Because it was a male voice, and it was like he was so frustrated with me. I've been telling you forever, and you're not paying attention. So anyway, I said, what's hello self? I said to that voice, nothing. Oh my gosh. Nothing happened. And I got up and went into the kitchen to get my breakfast and my coffee, and I took my journal with me, and I just started writing hello self. Then it became a book. And then it's become this podcast. Now it's a woman show that I'm going to put out this year. But you know what? Those are the moments. And some of them come like you and I received that. And some don't. Sometimes you can see a sign as you're driving down the road. I was talking to a client the other day. She's international. And I said, let me ask, it just out of the clear blue. I said, okay, she wants me to coach her on a business. But I said, let me ask you, have you ever thought about writing a book? She said, oh, my God, I can't believe you're asking me that. I said, well, why? She said, that's something I've wanted to do my whole life. And
oh, wow.
You see, it's another wake up moment. Yes. And so we're going to work on that. But you're so right. And I'm so grateful that you have shared these kind of things because people need to pay attention. It might be on a posted on a big sign as you're driving down the road, or somebody might say something to you. Just like they told you, you're a comedian. You're a Gracie Allen. I am.
I know. It is true. Yes. I think you're right, Patricia, that there are signs all along that we're not tuned into them or paying attention. But once we get the realization, then we start noticing them. And I find myself, even now, I will find myself, I'm drawn to something, I'll see it, notice it, and I'll find myself just going on about. And then I think, oh, wait, I've noticed that for a reason. I need to pay attention to why I'm noticing this. Why?
Oh my gosh, you and I could talk forever about this, but I wrote a book last year that is called The Listening and the Knowing. And that is exactly just like you said, it's paying attention. And yeah, at first we doubt ourselves, perhaps, but then it's going back and really learning how to listen. What is that? And it's getting out of our mind. So we may need to walk away in a day or two. Oh my gosh, that's what that meant. Or somebody says, have you ever thought about writing a book? Or yes. So I think it's we're coming to these places in our life, and just like with you, we're coming to this point in our life where we start to pay attention. The more we pay attention, the more we're given clarity.
Yeah, that's right. And then, I like to tell that story. I'm so thankful that you've had me on here to tell the story, because I think that people have realizations, but it's like you said earlier, they disregard it. They think, that's just a coincidence, or, I'm just something in my mind, but they don't act. And, or for fear, they're fearful that they're going to make a fool of themselves in front of 300 people for 6 minutes.
Well, yeah, we know that's okay, don't we?
It is okay. I promise you.
What is your big life mission with your comedy and your shows? What do you feel is your big life mission with all of that?
Oh, I just got a feeling right here when you just asked me that, Patricia, because I am still on the self-discovery of that. And I've been caught in between comedy just for fun, right? I write comedy, which is it's just funny, but also comedy with a message. And I'm most fulfilled and happy, which I didn't realize at first, like with my first show, when it was so meaningful to them, and I didn't realize all that meaning was there. And then with An Invisible Woman, the meaning there of how society tries to make women feel less than as they get older. They try to make you feel invisible, and we play along with that. Now it's, people are waking up to that, but it's still very prevalent, pervasive.
Yes. Did you notice last year at the Oscars how it started to change? Did you notice all the senior women that were getting?
Yes. And now I've noticed too that they like women who are a lot older.
Yes. Right? Oh boy, that's true. The in-between age.
The 50s and 60s are still the in-between. This kind of forgotten age. If you made it into your 70s, and your beautiful silver hair, and that's great. But still, that in-between age.
It's like you've got one foot in the youthful person and one foot over here in the aware person, more mature, but they don't know what to do with you because you're in between.
You're in between. That's right.
I know.
So my comedy, I like comedy, and it's not political, right? And people really do thank me for I don't use curse words, and but I like a wink and a nod, and I like innuendo, and
and then they can draw their own opinion, right?
That's right. You're thinking that way.
Yes.
But I do enjoy that. And so that is the undertones of my comedy. But I like having just that little message in there, and it's more social commentary. And so more and more, to get to your question about what is my goal, what I would like. I would like to perform in comedy with my message to people who are going through, like our audience, your audience here, right? Reinventing themselves and finding out, late bloomers, who you are, and women in particular, and just performing people who are looking to change their lives, to get over the fear, and embrace life and step on out into who you really are, and that it's never too late to become who you really are. And so I like that message that's in my comedy, and I would I'm open to collaborating and performing for if you need someone performing for your events or, your speaking engagements, things like that. I really enjoy that, along with my little nightclub act,
Yes, definitely. Yes. And how could somebody get a hold of you if they wanted to schedule something with you, or they had something they'd like to talk to you about to see if you'd be interested in it, a business opportunity or anything? And then I'd like to know what you've got planned. I know you're Invisible Woman, but what have you got beyond that? Are you going to are you going to create your own theater, or are you going to, what's your 2023 vision?
Okay. Well, your first question, yes, they can find me at my website, which I'm going to be having a major overhaul of it.
Okay.
In a couple of months, but still, anything you need to know and can reach me you can still find it there. And that's at www.itsreallysunny.com. ITSREALLYSUNNY. Like, it's really funny.
Yes, and note that it's SUNNY because she is
SUNNY. Yes. Yeah. Not SO. That's right. That's like
exactly. But it's the sunny word just speaks to who you are. I mean, you're like a bright breath of air.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you, Patricia. Well, as for my goals, yes. Well, bringing an invisible woman back to life on the stage is going to be a main focus for me this year. It's a lot to bring as you know, to bring a full, 75-minute show to the stage. And I sing, and so that's a lot.
So is it a one-woman show?
It's a one-woman show, but I have a couple of men, one or two men that, assist.
Yes.
And songs and
do they show up in the show?
Oh yes, they're part of the show.
Fabulous,
yes.
Fabulous.
It's a really fun cabaret type of show. And also, I would like to explore actually performing more for events. Also, in addition to my
corporate events or organizational events.
Yeah, yes.
Cruise ship. As long as calm seas.
Yeah.
Well, I want to know, are you going to take it to Broadway?
Well, the producer is in New York, and he wants to bring it to off-Broadway in 2024, early 2024.
That is exactly what I'm feeling.
Really? So it's so interesting that you asked that. So
I'm very intuitive. As a matter of fact, I'm going to add an intuitive service to my offerings. Yes, because
I love that.
I got a feel. I didn't know your producer was from New York, but yeah, don't you lose that thought in your head. So what is he wanting to do?
Yes, he's wanting by early 2024 to have it off Broadway.
I'm telling you, it's going to happen.
Oh,
and I didn't even know that. And here you're saying you got some.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Wow. When you asked me that, I thought, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to hold you to it, Patricia.
Okay, hold me to it. And I want to be on the front row. I want a ticket.
And, something else that it fell into my lap at the end of last year was I got to be in a movie that was filmed in Nashville that Women in Film and Television was behind producing. And I was asked to star in the movie, and it was a drama. And it's a beautiful short drama film.
Yes.
And I really had not done a lot of drama, and I found I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed making a film. And so that's something I would like to explore more of. And of course, if you wanted to ask me what my main goal, that I would love to be in a sitcom, perform in front of a live studio audience. I think that would be the ultimate.
Like on television?
A television comedy, yes. With a live studio audience. I think that's the best of both worlds.
And this is the place to speak those things out loud, because they reverberate out to, and we don't know who they'll reverberate out to.
Well, I think you made me feel confident and safe enough to say it out loud and speak it here on your podcast.
Well,
I really don't say that to very many people.
Well, and I see that in you. I mean, I do. I see that in you. And we've talked off and on about little things, but I didn't really know, but I just sense those kind of things. And this is why this Hello Self is so good, because it comes at the mental level, just like you say, don't be afraid, step in. Comes at the emotional level. Hello Self is, how do I feel? Oh gosh, I'm scared to death. Or the spiritual level, that signs just show up and I pay attention. And then the physical level, you just said, ooh, that gave, we feel,
feel it.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, please.
I want to say that, yes, I have been uncomfortable every step of the way. I have been out of my comfort zone, feeling very uncomfortable every step of the way.
Listen to that, audience, because that's great advice.
Yes, but I've just done it. And my husband has been my biggest supporter and cheerleader. I couldn't do it without him, Billy Brown. And he just has encouraged me every step of the way. I have Edie Hand, who you might know. Of course you know Edie.
Yes.
She's been a big mentor for me, supporting me. And she's the one that got me involved with Women in Film.
Yes.
And gotten to meet all of you wonderful, wonderful women who have been so inspiring for me.
And we're just growing like crazy, too. It's just getting bigger and bigger. Yes.
It's amazing what's happening there.
Yes.
So I'm honored to be a part of that group. And so I think, too, finding supporters, finding people who believe in you and who recognize that in you, and not someone who's tearing you down, right? Not people who
exactly.
It's really been an important part for me too.
Yeah, I think that's true. If because I just had somebody talking to me the other day and said, people are telling me don't, and I'm not going to mention names, but don't do this, do this. And I said, you know what? I didn't say it in front of anybody else, but I said to this woman, do what your heart says, so that you don't have any regrets at the end. If so-and-so hadn't have discouraged me, I would have gone on to do this. We have to listen to our own heart. And
that is such great advice. Yes.
And that's what
Patricia,
you did.
What was the name of your book? What was the name of your book you said that you had written about listening to the...
Listening and the knowing.
Listening. And I'm going to write that down. I want to get that.
Well, we can talk, but it's on Amazon. Have you written a book too?
You know what? Several years ago, my husband said, all of your essays, all of your columns need to be condensed into a book. So I said, well, I do not know at all how to go about self-publishing a book.
He is so right.
So he did it for me. And I do.
Oh.
I have it.
Yes, what is the name of it?
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean. Well, it's called LMAO.
LMAO.
Laughing My Off.
Oh, yeah.
A book of humor essays to help you lose weight.
Oh, my God. But you know what? You're so right. All of those things. And that's what I was thinking. I thought, oh, my gosh, if she hasn't done this, her blogs are books. I wrote 2,000 blogs over the last, I don't know.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, 8 years. But here's what I did. They were motivational sayings. So I created a calendar that each day they would open up to, and it wasn't, I just take a quote out of the blog, but I would take it out of there. There's so many things. And then I created a deck of professional cards for women that it is becoming woman.
I'm going to have to find all that.
You can do, on my website, but this is not about promoting me, but I want to say these are things that you can do that really market you too. and or anybody listening is something like that makes your heart sing. It doesn't always have to be comedy. It doesn't always have to be coaching or speaking or anything. It can be anything.
Yes, that's right. Mine just happens to be comedy.
Yes.
And I do have that book right here. Let's see.
Okay.
Here it is.
Oh, that's fabulous. Laughing my off. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. So is it on Amazon?
It is on Amazon. And it says
to Amazon and look for Sunny's book, Sunny Brown, Laughing Your A Off.
A collection of humor essays to help you lose weight. It says, does this book make my butt look small?
Yeah, because they say that comedy, laughing, helps you use calories. So you got a built-in thing. Come to my show and you'll lose 5 pounds.
That's right. Well, and what you said too, I do believe comedy can unify. Yes. I think it can bring people together. You might not agree on a lot of things, but if you can all find the same kind of thing funny or the humor in something, I think that can bring people together.
You know what? I've learned to laugh at myself. Sometimes when somebody will pull me off in traffic and I'll go, "Oh, you nutcake." And then I go, "Patricia, you are being ridiculous. That person doesn't even know that you said that."
That is a good thing for us to all remember. I'm going to have to remember that because, driving in traffic can make you crazy.
Oh, I got something else. You just inspired me to. My sister and I, she lives in Alabama.
She does.
And yes, and I will. She's a singer songwriter, and she's kind of a comedian herself. But anyway, I will call her. And I think this is a great comedy show, but I'll call her and I'll say, "Do you have a minute?" And she said, "Sure." And I start talking and I start talking and I keep talking and I keep talking. And I say, "Oh, Linda, we've been on the phone for 2 hours. Oh, what have you been up to?" She says, I really don't have any more time. So now the big joke is, do you have a minute? Because my family won't even answer now because they know it's going to be 2 hours. So I told Linda, we need to come up with a comedy show. Do you have a minute?
I know. That is a great title and idea for a show. It really is. Yes.
But Sunny, this has been so fun.
It has been for me too.
Yeah, and I've had a great time, and I love the way the dialogue just went back and forth, and but I also love what you did. You got real about the phases that you've gone through as someone who's following their heart, becoming aware of who they are, because that's what Hello Self is about, is awareness of who self is, their talents, and acknowledging that and, really taking it, because that's why we're here on this planet at this time.
Yes, yeah, that's right. And, it is about, what do I have to give? What is it that, what is my talent to give? Yes. And I will say, and I know we've got to go, but one more thing is that when I am writing.
You got a minute?
You got a minute, Patricia? Is that when I'm writing, I sit down to write and I feel that it's coming to me through me. It's just coming to me. And so when I feel very happy or satisfied or proud of something that I've written that's new and funny and resonates with people, I feel like it's not me. It's someone else, the higher power, universe, God, whatever you want to call it, brought it through me. And that I wrote it down. So I'm sitting there and my husband says, "I hear you laughing." And I am just laughing. And I feel like I could be very satisfied just putting it in my desk drawer and closing it because it is so funny and I like it. But then I realize that is not my end of the bargain. I have to hold up my end of the bargain because I have to then put this out to the world and give it to other people. It's been given to me and now I have to give it back. That's
a very different way to look at it than all monetarily or not, because everything we do in life ripples out whether it's negative or positive,
That's right.
ripples out to make an impact on someone, on a society, on a business. Oh, what a great message at the end. Yeah.
I really do feel like I could put that in my desk drawer and I would feel so happy because it is so funny and just funny and real. And then I realized, oh, I have to give it back. And so, and then, you do sit there and say, well, how do I do that? And those are those hello self moments too, right? What is my path to
Exactly. Because your support system is very important. And I love the fact that you that you gave your husband some acknowledgement too, because a lot of times it is a team effort in our society.
Whether I don't think you can do anything alone.
Yeah,
I don't think you can do it all by yourself.
Yes. And whether it's a business partner or a family member or what, it's acknowledging that I am here because of God. I'm here because of my husband. I'm here because of those other people that supported me along the way, even when I didn't know what my path was.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, Sunny, I hope that our audience loves this as much as I have.
Well, I do too. I've enjoyed it so much. I knew that we had so many similarities in our, lives and our work that we do. And I was so excited for the opportunity to be on your show. I love its message. I love what you're doing.
Oh, and yes. And you're an example of a woman waking up at different stages in her life and not giving up, but waking up.
Waking up. That's right. That's a great distinction. Not giving up, waking up. Yes.
You've got a bright future ahead of you too. And don't forget, I want a front row seat.
You are going to have it. I'll make sure of it, Patricia.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say goodbye. So I want to say to my audience, thank you so much for listening today. And I hope that you got from this story of Sunny Brown, that you got some ideas, some suggestions, some strategies, hope and inspiration to follow your heart in what you want to do. And again, I am Patricia Leonard. I am your podcast Hello Self host. And remember, I always like to tell you, keep dreaming. That's what life's about. Thank you for joining Hello Self today, and may it offer insights and inspire you to stay on your runway to success. Like, share, and subscribe. And remember this, keep dreaming.